Well, today I did an interesting thing. Yesterday, I got my new shipment, or I used up all of my old cayenne pepper, and it was very old. It was several years old, and it was just store quality. It wasn't even that hot. So I got my new batch, and I tried it out, and it was so strong, I could only stay in the bath for half an hour. And it wasn't because my balls hurt or anything like that. It's just because it stimulated me so much I wanted to get up and do things, and I became very busy. So today I left it out so that I could relax. And I was able to stay in the bath for 3 hours to make up for yesterday's 30 minutes. and and I realized if I keep the door shut and the distiller is going nonstop making 3 to 4 gallons a day, because that's how much I need to make in order to satisfy the criteria the criteria upon which I make the stuff. I use 2 liters of water initially to make colloidal silver, murky gray, and then I need more water, 2.5 gallons, to make 3 gallons total, to dilute it down sufficiently enough so that I can add 3 ounces, 90 cc's, of hydrogen peroxide 35% strength food grade in order to make the finished product. And then I add the spoonful of MSM to that, and then I pour it into here, and that's a spoonful of 99.9% grade MSM. But in this bath I put a whole scoopful of horse grade MSM from here into there, so there's lots of MSM. But I don't put too much MSM in the mixing container that I'm mixing the silver hydroperoxide. So anyway, I realized that if this should get chilled, what I can do is, in between the 4-hour sessions, in which this makes a little under a gallon, because it's not working too efficiently anymore, I'm going to have to replace it with a new one. It used to make a whole gallon per cycle, and then it shuts itself off after 4 hours when it finishes making a gallon. The boiler is probably 1.5 gallons in size, I'm guessing. Something more than a gallon, because it probably loses up to half a gallon in condensation when it, does its thing. So if that's about a gallon, a little over a gallon, I could just boil tap water and then throw it in here after I empty this out by about 1.5 gallons. And I could conceivably heat this up sufficiently enough to get back in it. It wouldn't be hot. But if I keep the door shut, the humidity is high. That slows down evaporation and thus slows down loss of heat. And it also keeps the bathroom warm. It's a very automatic way to heat the bathroom. To keep the door shut, and with the top off and the water boiling as a boiler, it'll be even hotter in here. So I could conceivably get by reusing this bath water as many times as I want to today, and I've already just been in there now for 3 hours. So I could conceivably reuse the water, and it's not dirty. At the end of the 3-hour session, the hydrogen peroxide component of the silver hydroperoxide was still causing fizzing inside my ear canal when I submerged my ear underwater, which tells me that A, the wax, I still got wax in my ears, and B, there's still enough oxidation potential to oxidize that wax. In other words, it can even oxidize the oils on my skin. See, it oxidizes everything organic. So it's a cleansing agent. It's like better than soap. And of course it's a sterilizing agent as well, and it's a nutritional agent because it feeds us ionic silver in a form that we can metabolize, namely superoxidized silver. Silver with 2 oxygen atoms as opposed to merely 1. So it's pretty powerful. And so what I'm doing now is I'm beginning to think that cayenne pepper, I'm reusing the same container. This was the old container from before, but I emptied it out, and now I've got the fresh organic in here that's 90,000 heat units. Extremely powerful. But the cayenne pepper may be similar to the sleep circuit, only to be used when needed. and not to be used as a matter of course, out of habit. Because really, do I really need to put cayenne pepper in here? First of all, anything else I put in here is going to destabilize the silver. It's bad enough it's hard water. And that's another thing I'm thinking. It would probably be a good investment to get a water softener to make sure that all the water running through our pipes in this building is soft water. And that would prevent this murky, milky white condition that you might be able to notice. The camera might be able to pick it up. I can see it. It's a slight, because see, that's not a clear chrome. That's like a milky white chrome. So that tells me it's got some suspension of some kind. And it's either calcium that came out of solution or silver oxide. Calcium oxide or silver oxide, one or the other. I'm hoping it's calcium, but I have no way to know without, having it analyzed. So I'm thinking that cayenne pepper, like the electricity of a sleep circuit, is not to be used as a matter of course, only when needed. Because the only time we should use electricity is when it's pure from the earth or pure from a body. But when it gets monkeyed up, messed up with AC fields, or it's no good, and or messed up with an artificial source of energy such as a battery. That doesn't work either. Despite the fact that I suppress the electrical current in my sleep circuit to 200 picoamps, it's still too much amperage. And the voltage is not an issue, the 1.5 volts. It's the amperage that's too high. So I don't use the sleep circuit anymore. And now I'm beginning to think I don't need to put cayenne pepper in the bath, because anything I put in the bath will destabilize the silver. The hardness already does it. And I've already tested this theory out before, but in a smaller container, like a liter-size Erlenmeyer flask. Just about everything you can imagine will destabilize silver except hydrogen peroxide and MSM. Those are the only two things that work with silver. Just silver by itself, like colloidal silver is, finely divided metallic silver particles. So why am I putting cayenne pepper in the bath? I should only be ingesting cayenne pepper, which I am doing. I'm going back to the habit of taking 1 capsule of cayenne pepper twice a day with meals, with food. And if I can't take it with food, if I forget, I can at least take it with a nodule of beeswax, a little piece I break off and roll between my fingers into a ball. About the size of that gap between my finger and thumb is about how big I make it, how big a piece I break off. And when I round it into a ball, that's about the diameter of that ball. And if it's not enough, I can always take another one. And if I feel the need to eat, it's because I'm hungry, But the cayenne pepper might stimulate an appetite. I might feel uncomfortable if I don't eat, but that's because my stomach is empty and I need food. It's not because the cayenne pepper is gnawing away at it, because there's nothing else for it to work on except the lining of the stomach, because I will have taken beeswax with the cayenne pepper, at the very least, if I don't take the cayenne pepper with food. So that's the latest development, is that I can literally spend more hours out of the day immersed in this, because I think the more time I spend in this, the more opportunity for spontaneous regeneration can occur. And I may be coughing up phlegm because of the fact that I did not put cayenne pepper in the bath. So my lymphatic system might be thick. And that's what I find happens with the ingestion of silver, is that it tends to thicken up. And that's why cayenne pepper is useful, is to break it up. But to put cayenne pepper in here to break up the lymphatic system may seem like a quick fix, but it's the wrong place to put it. This should be just a simple bath of inorganic ingredients. MSM is not organic. It's methylated, but it's not organic. I don't believe so. And neither is silver hydroperoxide organic. I could be wrong, but I don't think either one of them are considered chemically organic. Not organic, like what we think of, the consumer organically grown. I mean the chemist's definition of what constitutes an organic compound. as opposed to a non-organic compound such as table salt. So silver, colloidal silver, is not organic. But is silver hydroperoxide organic? I don't know. Just because it's been combined with hydrogen peroxide, well, let's look at it this way. Hydrogen peroxide, is hydrogen peroxide organic? No. I know that for sure. So that means silver hydroperoxide can't be, because it's really structurally no different than hydrogen peroxide. We simply remove one hydrogen atom and replace it with one silver atom. So structurally chemically, it's no different than hydrogen peroxide. Silver hydroperoxide is no different than hydrogen peroxide. That means that if hydrogen peroxide is not organic, chemically speaking, in terms of its structure, its chemical structure, by definition, chemical definition, not organic gardening definition, then that means by analogy, or by equivalence, I should say, not by analogy, but by direct equivalence, silver hydroperoxide is not organic as well. Now, MSM, I don't think is organic, but I don't know. So I cannot speculate. I don't know enough to speculate, not even to take a guess. But silver hydroperoxide, definitely, using that logic, it's simple logic, it is not organic. So at least one of the two items, the active ingredient, the silver is the active ingredient, that's not organic. And so everything organic has to go through the mouth, because that makes sense. That's what the mouth was designed for. Taking in food. Not taking in salt. If you want salt, the best way to take it is to go to the ocean and bathe in the ocean. Or put salt in the bath. That's the best way to take salt. Because it's not organic. It's not something our digestive system was designed to do. The digestive system is something complicated to take care of complicated things, such as food. Our skin cannot digest food, okay? So we have to take it through the mouth. So that's the way to look at it. If you cannot take it through the skin, you take it through the mouth. But if you can take it through the skin, then what are you putting it in your mouth for? You know? And it's this demarcation of where you put what. And that's the way to look at the bath. It's a type of a meal that I couldn't do otherwise. I couldn't drink enough silver hydroperoxide to be of any use, because eventually I'd get tired of it. What's the word? It's unpleasant because it oxidizes. And so if I'm going to oxidize anything, I'd rather it oxidize my skin and not my mucosal membrane inside my gut, because my mucosal membrane was not made to be oxidized. That's why we put our oxidizers, such as chlorine or ozone, in our tap water. Not to drink it necessarily, but to bathe in it, to make sure that it's sterile when we bathe in it. But if we start drinking it, now we're drinking an oxidizer. It's no wonder vitamin manufacturers can make a lot of buck off of us, because we're busy consuming oxidizers every time we drink tap water, which we should not be doing technically, because it destroys the value of the food that we consume. I mean, if we took tap water on an empty stomach, I could see the value, except it's going to eat away at your insides, because it's an oxidizer. It's designed to chew up and digest and dissolve pathogenic organisms, because they're organically based, along with all the other organics in the water. That's what an oxidizer will do. It'll burn it. It'll oxidize it. It'll oxidize all that organic material, which includes living organisms. That's the point. You wouldn't want to do that to the inside of your gut, but you can get away with doing it on your skin, because your skin is a little more resilient than the inside of your gut is. And oxidation of the skin cleans the skin. It sterilizes the skin. There's nothing wrong with it on the outside of the body. It's the inside that's the problem. So this is perfect because it's nourishing as well as oxidizing. It gives the body silver in a form that the body can utilize. So it's double duty. And then you throw in the MSM, and now you've got methylated sulfur to help the body use silver if you're one half of that population that's genetically not predisposed to methylate your sulfur. You need to get methylated B complex instead of the normal variety. Namely, you look at the B12. If it's cyanocobalamin, it's the wrong one. It has to be methylcobalamin to be methylated. If it's got folic acid, it's the wrong one. If it's folate, or if it's folinic acid, then it's the right one. It's methylated. But see, it depends on your predisposition, and that's genetic, and it's pretty much 50-50, the way the population of the Earth works. So the MSM is there because I know I need it. By experience, by trial and error, I know I need it. So I extrapolate from that experience that I probably am part of that group among the population that cannot methylate. Because I've always noticed the difference between methylated B12 and non-methylated B12. And methylated B complex versus not methylated, it's subtle. I'm not sure about that. But I can notice the difference with the B12. Maybe because the B12 is the only vitamin as a vegetarian or as a vegan that I've had a hard time getting from vegan sources. So that's probably why I noticed it, the difference. Analyzing afterwards. It's not like food, it tastes right? You analyze your experience after the fact, after a while, actually. So, I'm getting kind of hot in here. I want to get out of here because it's pretty humid. But in the bath, it was okay because I was wet. But anyway, I wanted to give you an update, and those are my thoughts.